Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by my loyal co-host and friend, Darren Brownie Brown. What a weekend, Brownie, to be a South Sydney Rabbitohs supporter.
Oh, outstanding chaps, and I'm sure. And first of all, a g'day to everyone that's jumped on the YouTube channel. We are live to talk about this fantastic win, a win that we had really no right to be successful on the night, chaps. After losing both halves, and we'll go deep into that very shortly. But yeah, outstanding to be a South Sydney Rabbitohs, especially beating our arch rivals, the Sydney Roosters.
Oh, yeah, it was magnificent. I mean, well done to everyone who got out there on the night. There was a parochial crowd, and it looks like the crowd got them home. I wasn't out there, had to work. I finished early enough, just early enough to get back on the couch and really soak that one in. But there's so much going on out there. It was really one of the most improbable wins you've ever seen late in the second half. Look, it feels like we're underdogs, but we're actually the favourites going into this game, Brownie. So it's kind of unusual that it felt like we were the underdogs. But to be honest, look, the back end of that game, 20 to go, if someone said we got beat 28-8, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, well,
There's so much going against us,
yeah, well, it
wasn't
certainly
there?
was, and we had so much field position in the first 20 to 30 minutes, and the Roosters did exceptionally well to hold us out for a long, long period. They defended really well, the Roosters, and we only went in at an 8-6 lead at half time, and we had a lot of ball and we had a lot of field position. So there was some concerns there, and obviously the Roosters hit straight back.
Yeah, they certainly did. Look, obviously, it's talking about people getting out to the game, Brownie. You went out there. Tell us about your experience, and you're out there with former Rabbitoh Troy Slattery, and who else came with you, mate?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be up in the Chairman's Lounge. I got invited up there by a great friend of mine, Laurie, who's a big fan of the show. He's a mad South Sydney passionate supporter.
On your loss.
And we ended up with Troy Slattery, who joined us at the Chairman's Lounge. Josh Piggins,
Yep.
the nephew of George Piggins, and George Burgess also joined us on the night. So yeah, so it was a really good night up there in the Chairman's Lounge. Some nice food, the beers were flowing, and I've got a bit of a croaky voice because I ride every tackle when I'm at the game, chaps. So I don't know, you've been at the game with me, and
Oh, yeah.
Luke Curry was sitting in front of me, and he said, he's got a full-time commentary team just behind me, and that was me because I ride every tackle and so passionate, and especially against the Roosters.
Especially when he sees an opportunity, Brownie wants him to go left. Go left. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. Look, we're live here. If you want to pose a few questions, certainly do in the live chat. We'll do our best to get to them all. But look, we're going to do an injury update. There was obviously 3 injuries out of it. We'll do that later on after the end of the recap. But look, it started, Brownie, with a Sandon Smith try, and it all started with, I think, Big Ravalawa sort of pushed up and didn't take anyone, and it left a bit of space there for Billy Smith, and he cut us up down the left, and he got a quick play the ball there, Sandon Smith, and the Marcus sort of sat back and slid. I think it might have been Bud Sullivan, and he took the advantage, and it's one of those things when South dominated that first 6 or 7 minutes, field position, possession, and the other mob went up there and scored straight away, one tackle inside the 20.
How often do you see that, chaps, when
Yep.
the one team dominates field position and possession, and then the other team goes up the other end? Exactly what the Roosters did, and like you said, he cut us up in the middle. A couple of missed tackles there from a few players, which they wouldn't have been happy with. But look, they got on with the job. They didn't worry about it, and that's the beauty about this team. They just keep hanging in there. And I said at the start of the opening of this particular show that we had really no right to win that game with the players that we lost. But in saying that, chaps, another 80% completion rate, above 80, I think it was around 85. And out of our 5 games, our 4 wins have all been above 80%. And I harp on about it week in, week out. That's a pet hate of mine. Hold the ball and you've got a good chance of winning, and that's exactly what we've done in our 4 wins this year, completed above 80%.
Yeah, we certainly did. That went a long way. I think I put it up on Twitter. I think we were 90% Brownie
Yeah.
by the end of the contest. And look, you probably went a little bit sideways in that first half, to be honest. I think, and the Roosters must have took the pill out of our mouth in the second half and swallowed it themselves, because I thought they went really sideways in the second half themselves.
Yeah.
But in the end. It was 86%, yeah. So that last few minutes, I think it was in the 90s. But look, that's the sort of thing that drives other teams into the ground. But look, then Totola, we had a bit of possession back up the other end, and it was Junior Totola crashing over unmarked. But the work was done on the inside by Lockie Hubner.
I love it when two, middle forwards combine together, chaps, and it's exactly what they did. A nice little tip on. You see it week in, week out, all through the NRL. When they put little tip-ons, it always causes trouble, and they come up with points this time. And Junior basically went in untouched and did the try celebration. No need to go upstairs and have a look at that one, because he was in for 4 points right near the sticks.
He's got his light feet back on again. He's getting between defenders. He's pushing the line back. He's been strong, Junior, but on that occasion ran a nice overs line near the far post, and they just didn't get enough. I think it was Sandon Smith who didn't push over and help, and that was the result of a try. Look, then we got up the other end, and Latrell does what he does and grabs it from dummy half, pushed 3 or 4 blokes out of the way and slammed it down. But it was Teddy come over and the ball bobbled out in normal motion. If they play it normal motion, they look like a try to me.
Yeah, it certainly did, chaps. And like I said, I was at the game. I haven't actually watched the replay. I watched the replay of all the tries, but I haven't watched the full replay. But yeah, at the ground, once again, it looked like he got it down. But when they slow it right down, there must have been separation of the ball in the hand when he put it down. But yeah, it was no try.
It was a tight contest at first. I think we ended up jagging a penalty goal from a high tackle or something like that, and we went to the half time 8-6. There was nothing in it. It was a real unwrestle. But if you looked at the stats at half time, I think we'd had 84% completion. They only had 53. They could hardly hold the ball, and we had 59% possession. You'd think we were up 30-0. Like, the Roosters did an amazing job. Their goal line D was something to behold. I don't want to give them too much of a rap, but that was outstanding goal line D by the Chooks, wasn't it?
Well, I said that just earlier, chaps. Yeah, outstanding. You've got to give them a rap. But I thought it was a perfect decision to take the 2. We had a couple of penalties just before that, and we took the tap. We tried to break their line of defence, but we just couldn't. And credit to the Roosters. But I thought it was a really good decision to take the 2. Just get our noses in front. We went into the break 8-6 in front and had a little bit of confidence about we got down the other end and took some points away. So, yeah, really good decision to take the 2 and not go for the tap like we did earlier.
Well, there was an opportunity earlier to take the 2, and I thought that might have been an opportunity right under the sticks, that one was too. But anyway, they didn't need it in the end. And anyway, shout out there to Paul Cullen. He said, "G'day, chaps and DB and South loyal supporters." He thought it was a try too. Richard there. So, boys, if you can give us a little thumbs up, if the sound's a lot better. We've had a couple of dramas with it. You got to get these little mics really close to your mouth, which is what I'm doing now, as you can see. We'd appreciate that feedback. Look, Brownie, at half time, it was sort of, the Chooks come out firing. Little did we know, Cody's had a hamstring or a calf injury, and he hadn't come out for the second half. They brought in the Bud Sullivan, Mr. Fix-It. He can play just about anywhere. He played 7. Latrell went into 6. There was a big reshuffle there. They moved Jai Arrow into the centres, I think. Rava went off 5 minutes later with a hammy.
And we didn't mention, chaps, we lost Jamie Humphries.
Jamie Humphries in the first 4 minutes. Yeah.
So
first
we
couple of
skipped
minutes.
over that. But, outstanding. And that just makes the win more sweet, on it. Bud Sullivan, I thought he did a tremendous job. Look, we just spoke about his missed tackle just earlier, but what I like about him, he takes the line on, chaps.
He's quick.
He's not afraid to show and go. Nearly set Pete up for a try early on, and then in that second half when he made that break, he put Jai under the sticks.
Yeah, and Nicky's watching from Redfern Oval. He's there early. I think he might be going for lunch at one of the pubs up the road there. Is it the Windmill up the road? What's
you got
the Woolpack?
Woolpack.
He's going if you're going for lunch at the Woolpack, enjoy that one, guys. We're heading to Redfern a bit later on, but yeah, look, the Chookies come out
what
firing.
What are we doing at Redfern?
We're calling the Jersey flag a bit later on. So
make sure you tune in to Bar TV. Chaps and I will be your commentators for the Rabbitohs Roosters game. And look, that rivalry, it filters all the way down. Don't you worry about that. They'll be up for this game, the Jersey flag.
There's a couple of former Rabbitohs in the Chookies team, so we'll be getting through that one. But yeah, Billy, there was a try there in the second half, and yeah, got into us early, and it was they're up 14-8 there, Brownie.
Yeah, it certainly was, and they went on a bit of a roll, didn't they? The Roosters.
It was Dom Young, I think. It was a little half break there by Teddy. He got it on to Sui Wong, and a big rap on. He hasn't sort of hit his straps yet, but I thought it was his best game of the season. Wongy, Susie's brother. And he come up with a nice flick pass, and Dom Young was on the end of it and scored, put them up 14-8. They missed the conversion, which would have been crucial to go up a converted try there, Brownie. And then it was sort of one-way traffic. They dominated possession and field position for quite a long time in that second half, didn't they?
Yeah, they certainly did. And things started to work for them. The passes started to stick, and we started to sort of like just be a little bit laxy-daisy around the edges, and they were starting to pull our edges apart a little bit and make inroads. And they went on a bit of I think they scored 2 unanswered tries. In the end, it was goal kicking that was the difference, because I think it was 3 tries all.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right there, mate. Yeah, well, we've won a couple of games just purely by having either the same amount of tries or less tries and just winning on goal kicks. So the Roosters didn't kick too well the other night, a little bit like the Tigers last night. But look, Jai Gary try. This all come off the back of there was a couple of Latrell dropouts that were just ridiculous. Absolute. You could call them arsey or fluky, but you never know with Latrell whether he means that. But he done that dropout. Landed 2 metres out from his own line. Fox coverage was saying, "Oh, that's a pretty ordinary kick kind of thing." And then it rolled up, and Jai got down on the ground like he was just doing tunnel ball or something. Dived on it, and away we went. And we went up the other end, and it was a big show and go from Bud Sullivan. He had to wait a little bit because Jai was sort of just sitting back a little bit, and he bolted up the little Mighty Mouse, and we were back in the contest then.
Well, Jai was behind the decoy players. Bud Sullivan had a decoy either side of him, which obviously held the defence up, and he could get one-on-one. And on the opposition, he showed it. They fell for the dummy. He sliced through, showed it a bit of toe, and then Jai just loomed like a good fullback should. Just loomed up on the inside. Just a bit of effort there from Jai Gray, and put himself in the position to score a very, very crucial try.
Yeah, it certainly was. And that just tied it up at 14-all, and the Roosters sort of looked up going, geez, how the hell have we tied this one up? Rabbits are down there. We had one bench with 20 minutes to go when Rava come off. One bench and one replacement, because Liver had to be pulled off. He was gone. I don't think Liver came back on, did he? No. They just left him on the sideline for the end. We had 3 blokes unavailable. We'll get to that injury update a bit later on. But, yeah, then there was a try. Then there was a try to Isaiah Tass in the corner. He had his fingerprints all over it because we're coming off our line. We're gone. And he's dropped the ball. Isaiah Tass said, knock on. We decided to challenge it, and I think it was Sui Wong, that man again. He stripped him, and the referee overturned it. We got a penalty. We marched up the other end. I think Latrell turned Big Key on underneath, who I thought I had a good game. And then it was Pete Mamazoulis out of dummy half. Just gave Latrell enough time to look over to the sideline and tell Tassie, hug the paint, son, hug the paint. And he's gone down, looked down, which brought Dom Young up, and he threw up there. I'm calling it one of the best passes I've seen from a South Sydney player since Phil Blake in the 89 semi-final, where he hit Ross Harrington in the corner.
Yeah, well, it certainly was, chaps, and it was premeditated. Like He knew
he set that up the play before
to get the ball. I'm pretty sure it was last tackle. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I've only watched the replay.
That was last tackle.
Last tackle.
Yeah.
He shaped to do a little kick, didn't he? It was just, I don't know, it was just a little bit of a shape downwards.
He looked down.
And then he just threw a bullet pass, crossed 2 players, 20-metre pass. And look, Isaiah Tass had plenty to do. The ball just didn't come straight to him. It was a little bit high. He had to take it, bring it in, and then tiptoe down the sideline. He stayed in a millimetre, stayed in. And when you look at it on the replay, on one angle, it looks like he went out, but when you look at the head on, it was a dead set try, and he'd done tremendously well. And like you said, chaps, the pass that stopped the nation.
Yeah, well, that's it. The pass that stopped the nation and divided a nation. There were some people out there calling it forward, but they didn't have the same coloured shirt on or jumper that we had on. That's for sure. There was nothing forward about it. And if it was, even better, even sweeter. We beat them on a forward pass. But look, I don't think it was. I mean, you've seen. Even Nick Pappas replied to a tweet today. Someone, He said, mate, look, this is physics 101, mate. If a bloke's moving forward and he passes it from right to left, the ball's he's going to travel forward. So we even had the directors out there defending the
Paul
bunnies.
Cullen, we'll just go back to Jai Gray. He said he has the heart of a lion in the chest of a South Sydney Rabbitoh, and you're 100% right, Paul.
He did.
He just plays with so much energy. We say it week in, week out. His effort on effort plays are unbelievable, and we'll give our 3-2-1s very shortly, and don't be surprised if he features in our 3-2-1s again.
Yeah, certainly will. Look, let's have a chat about Latrell. His stats didn't jump off the page, but just for him to come in, obviously, I don't think he'd kicked a ball since the second week of February. Like, he's at training, working in the gym kind of thing, trying to get the body ready. I haven't seen him kick a ball. He had his first training session on Tuesday, had the captain's run Thursday. He wasn't kicking it very well, I can tell you. He was spraying it all over the yard. He couldn't hit a barn door on the captain's run. Yet he comes in and nails every single conversion we needed. His kicking game was, the variety in it is off the charts, Brent. Look, he had a couple out on the full or whatever. But that's only because he's having a crack at a 40-20 when no one else would try one then.
Yeah, exactly. And but it doesn't worry him. He just gets on, and that's Latrell, isn't it? Like, that pass that he threw could have been an intercept, but it hit the mark, and that's just Latrell for you. That's what he brings. He loves the big moments. He loves owning them. He wants the ball in his hands when the game's on the line, and that's why he's, arguably one of the best players in the game on his day.
Oh, he's freakish. Look, he played centre. I thought he didn't get a lot of ball at centre, which we knew that was going to happen. It's pretty tough to get the ball to him all the time when the opposition knows it's going that way. But once he went into 5'8", and I've been calling this for a couple of years, I think he's a 5'8".
Yeah.
But we've got a pretty good 5'8" in Cody Walker.
Well, Cody's out this week, chaps. What do you do?
Yeah. We'll get to that injury report very shortly. But to me, look, let's get to it now. Who's going to be your halves over in Perth?
Well, look, it's quite well documented that Humphrey's hamstring injury and Cody hamstring injury. Do they play this week? We're not sure. But if they are out, I'm going to say Bud Sullivan will wear the number 7.
Yep.
I haven't seen enough from Lewis Dodd, and he's playing this afternoon. We'll be out there, chaps. We'll cast our eye over him, and I'm sure Wayne and the coaching staff will be watching as well. But I just think Bud Sullivan did enough the other day. I like the way he takes the line on. He creates opportunities, and he's threatening when he's got the ball. All right, his defence is a little bit suspect, but tell me what halves isn't. And I think I'd like to see Latrell play the 6, but there could be an inkling that Jack Whiten might play 6 as well. So I'm going to say Bud Sullivan and Jack Whiten to play 6.
Yeah, I'm not going to move Latrell. If it ain't broke, you don't fix it. If Latrell's not at 5'8" the other day, we don't win that game.
Yeah.
If Latrell's not first receiver or second receiver, whatever, you don't win that game. I'm going to put Latrell at 5'8", Bud Sullivan, second best halfback in the club. I've said it for a while. Second best halfback behind Jamie Humphries at the moment. I've got Louis Dodd, a distant third. I've watched enough of his tape. I've gone out and watched him live. I think he's a good attacking player, and he's certainly got a good little kicking game. But defensively, I think he's a long way off first grade. I'm going to be completely wrong. I could be wrong on this. I don't know, but just lead runners and counting the numbers. And look, defensively one-on-one, he's okay, but he just doesn't seem to be able to come up with the answer if they do a double lead run. He seems to stay on the lead runner too long. Look, he's going to be someone we'll use at some stage, but I don't think that now's the time. You've got your number 7 who's played. He's proved he can play first grade. He's played 30-odd first grade games. And at the end of the day, if Bud Sullivan doesn't play the other day, he's not winning that match. That show and go he did. He set up Angus Crichton about 10 minutes earlier. So Angus Crichton put a shot on him. He had a verbal with him. And he kept saying, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. And eventually, he got between him and Naafu White, who I thought was impressive on the night. Naafu White, I really like what I saw from him. Bud Sullivan, I'd like to see him do a bit more kicking because I think Latrell obviously kicked really well, but it would be nice to have another option because he can kick the ball. He's a genuine, natural number 7, Jaden Sullivan.
Yeah, well, like we just both agreed on, chaps, we both agree that he will wear the number 7 if Jamie Humphries is out. He did enough for me the other night, and like I said, he's very creative. He's exciting to watch, and you know what? He's got speed, and that's what you want.
Yeah, he certainly does. He certainly threatens every time he's got the ball in his hands. Look, Latrell, match winner. So good to have him back. And again, you're not going to see the best of Latrell for another 3-4 weeks. He was gassed. He was out in his feet. He wasn't running the ball in the second half. Played distributor a bit. Kicked the ball. Got in position to kick the ball a lot. I don't know if you noticed one. He kicked right-footed a bomb.
No,
Did you notice that in the game?
I missed that.
I was like, what is he? And it was a beautiful bomb too.
Yeah.
This is how freakish this bloke is.
He's a
Anyway,
natural talent, isn't he?
Jai Gray, the Mighty Mouse, leading the Dally M's. Some of the things he come up with. The late in the game, I think it was 4 minutes to go. It was 20-14. They put up a bomb. Tedesco, they targeted him. Tedesco out-leaped him. He out-leaped Tedesco. Came down, landed on his back. Gets up. Jack White has a carry. He jumps in and has the third carry, then has the fifth carry again. This bloke, some of the stuff that he come up with in that game were just phenomenal.
29 runs, chaps, for over 250 metres again. Just simply outstanding. An energizer, just effort on effort. He's just, I can't see how you can leave him out of the team, even when we've got all our players back. He's just one of a kind, basically. He's
phenomenal.
That's Dylan Edwards at his best, then type of stats. And he's doing it week in, week out. It's not as if he's doing it 1 week and they're not doing it the next week. Every week he's producing these stats, and it goes a long way to us winning games.
He's very consistent. Probably the Sharks game was one where he probably didn't get the meters and the stats he wanted. The Sharks were just on fire that day. We played a lot of back football. We had no field position. But other than that, I think he's probably the best defensive fullback in the game at the moment.
Well,
on form, who's going better defensively than him? He seems to be everywhere. There was even a kick. Tedesco did a beautiful kick in the second half. Dry wasn't there. Comes from the clouds, taps it dead.
Yeah.
Just come from nowhere. His foot speed over that 5 or 10 metres, he doesn't have to be exactly there, but he can get himself there.
Yeah. Well, that was like the try.
Unbelievable under the high ball.
The try he scored, and we just went through it before. There was two players in front of him that could have supported that Sullivan, but Jai Gray got there because of his speed.
One of the strongest players in our team, pound for pound. I've been saying it for weeks. 5 tackle breaks. He's just about led us. The smallest player in our team leads us in tackle breaks every week.
Yeah.
That says a lot about Jai Gray.
Outstanding.
The bloke is phenomenal. I've heard people saying, we should move him to here. Mate, why would you move him?
Yeah.
Wayne Bennett has been around the game long enough to, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Junior Totola, for the big man to come on, 5 games in now, 53 minutes, Brownie, up from 27 last week. He had to. We were down on troops. I thought he got through a bit of work, and some of his carries were with purpose. He scored a try. Junior, second week in a row, he's starting. I like it.
Yeah, well, we said it earlier on the Teamless Tuesday that he's just going to get better and better every time he takes the field, and that's exactly what's happening. He was good last week. He was better this week, and he's going to be better next week. He's getting some miles in his legs. His fitness will be better. Starting to drop a little bit of weight now because he's playing so much. But yeah, outstanding, and he's going to be really beneficial, over the next couple of weeks.
Yep. Look, we can't go for everyone, but I thought Keon Kaloma-Tungi, 3 tackle breaks, 145 metres, had a couple of big carries in that last 3 or 4 minutes where most of us were making 3 or 4 metres. He's come out and bent the line.
Yeah.
He made about 10, 12 metres on a couple of them. And mistake-free in that game too. I thought he was outstanding. Big Keon, he was a threat all game.
Yeah, the good thing about Keon and Jai Arrow, they can play full games, and I'm pretty sure they both.
They don't come off.
Jai Gray was another one that was outstanding. The work he does goes a little bit unnoticed, but you break it down, and he's outstanding, Jai Arrow.
Yeah, I think the only way you're going to get one of them off is if Jai's missus goes into labour. That's the only way he won't play 80 minutes.
And that could happen this week, chaps, let me tell you.
Well, that's as a threat of him not going over to WA. But I think we can cover it. It is what it is. Hubby, he's just an animal, this bloke. I think in 20 years' time, the Dolphins are going to be talking about this bloke saying, why did we let him walk out the door without an offer? South's gone in for a base minimum contract. This bloke just goes all day. What do you have? 37 tackles in the contest, 60, and he played 62 minutes. Once he works up to even higher minutes than that, this bloke is so valuable, Brownie. There were stages at the back end of the game where he was out on his feet. I don't know if you remember WWF, Georgie Animal Steel. He was walking a bit around like Georgie Animal Steel like this, and I thought, this bloke, I said, this bloke is an animal.
He just works himself to a standstill, doesn't he?
Love
sure
him.
He'd be sitting in the ice bath, 20 minutes, half hour after every game.
Nah, I got a message. He's still in it from Friday night now.
Exactly.
He worked himself that hard.
But yeah, outstanding. And the little 1%ers is what I like. The kick chase, tidies up around that ruck. He's line speed, taking everyone else up with you. And he's changed our defensive structures and our defensive efforts, hasn't he? And
yes.
Someone that, I know Cameron Murray does it, but imagine, Cameron Murray and this bloke in the same team. Look, we're sitting in a good position with all our players out at the moment and still winning games. Wait till they all come back, and you'll see a really, really good footy team. At the moment, we're winning ugly, but we're getting the 2 points, so that's outstanding.
Yeah, I want to give a rap to the bench player, Tallis Duncan, and obviously the start and second row of Jairo, just for playing out of position there, playing out in the centres. And, obviously, I think they admitted after the game, geez, I was a bit rattled as to what I was supposed to do positionally. We worked it out after a few minutes, and they had to come up with some big plays because the Roosters wanted to go sideline to sideline. They weren't willing to bash it up the middle with Naafu White and Connor Watson. I don't know why freaking Robinson took off Connor Watson. That was freaking mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Well, he's lost the plot there, Robbo. But we can't help. We can't coach the Roosters, but Brian.
No, that's right, exactly. And we're glad that they didn't really exploit that area. But yeah, it's a big effort from all the players that were playing out of position, and there was so many of them as well.
Yeah, and we might get to an injury update here. We're hearing Cody Walker. It's only a minor one. Might only be 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks, hopefully. So that's great news for Cody. Obviously, I would like to see what he would have done in the second half. He would have been pretty instrumental. And unfortunately, bad news coming out for Jamie Humphries. Looks like it's on the more severe end. That could be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. That one, big loss. Only played a few minutes. His defence is unbelievable.
Yeah, it certainly is. And look, there's no doubt about it. We missed him to a certain extent on the weekend. We always miss good players. You know what I mean? And his defensive efforts are like Lockie Huebner's, aren't they? He rushes out of the line. He's a very good one-on-one tackler. His contact's really good. And the good thing about it, for a halfback, he makes 35, 40 tackles. So that just helps the forwards out as well. And
absolute boost.
His edge players. So, yeah, it's a shame that Humphries is going to miss a couple of weeks because he was in really good form. And but like you said, chaps, before, it's just the next man up mentality. And we're saying it will be Buddy O'Sullivan will take the number 7 jersey. But
we haven't spoken to anyone at the club. That's just our opinion. We're not talking. 100%. We're not having grapple with Wayne or anything like that. This is just a couple of battlers, doing their best. There's a couple of comments there. Yep, South loyal supporters. Jai Gray was outstanding. Yeah, of course he was. He said, "Do you think Dodd will play this week?" I'm going to say no. That's a flat out no. I think we've covered that one. And then Leroy Bacon. No, I had eggs this morning, no bacon. But up the mighty Rabbitohs, he says.
100%.
And someone said up the Wars, Obi. Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on the Wars, but I used to like them back.
They got the bye this week, so that's why he might be jumping on. Just checking out our podcast.
Up the Wars.
Radio. If you haven't subscribed and you like this content, please subscribe. It does help our algorithm and the show. It sends it out there. We try and give you up-to-date news on the Rabbitohs and all our point of views and our opinions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well,
make sure you subscribe and like and comment.
I'll be just on the Wars. I mean, they're probably the worst-looking team in Vegas, and they've come back better than anyone. So I think whoever's going next year, they're going to be ringing up the Warriors. Yeah. Well, how did you just do that?
Yeah. Well, they just got rid of Dylan Walker, but 3 on the trot. They're going well, the Wars, and like I said, they got the bye this week, so that's an easy 2 points in the bag.
Yep, and Ian Cashman there. We out at Redfern Oval, Chaps and Brown. Yep, we're heading out there to call that one a little bit later. And Michaela Ravalawa is pretty similar to Jamie Humphries from all reports. He's on the longer end. A couple of weeks out with a hamstring injury. The big fella He carried strong. They certainly put some shots on the big fella. Defensively, gets a little bit out of position, Brownie. But that's what we as I said, we didn't buy him as a defensive winger.
Geez, it is concerning. No, we didn't, chaps, but his runs have been so good for us over the last couple of weeks, and that's another winger we're going to miss because just about our whole backline is out. So if you go through our starting backline, it'll be probably just Latrell and Isaiah Tass. Now, would Isaiah Tass be in the team if our whole backline was there? Campbell Graham, Alex Johnson, Ty Munro, Makali Ravalawa.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a side.
Cody Walker, Jamie Humphreys. Latrell is basically the only player who, he only returned last week, is the only player that would be in the starting lineup if they were all fit. So our whole backline.
Yeah, he's certainly valuable to have. We might throw out a trivia question here. All right. Whoever it is, I'll send you out a coffee mug of the Rabbitohs and some stickers. Who threw the dummy half pass to Latrell for the winning play of the game? Who was a dummy half? Throw that out there. First person in the live comments, I'll send you out a coffee mug there. Anyway, Brownie, we're going to get to our 3-2-1. We've been doing it all week. I haven't got me. Can you have a look what Les's one was? We sent it to us. Big Les, apologies. He's playing an actual game today.
Big Les.
Hasn't had a lot of trials. He's a bit nervous, the big fellow. We're wishing him the best. We would have went out to watch him, but we're going to call a game ourselves. Call it out, Brownie.
Yeah, so Big Les has gone 3 points to Latrell. Like I said, he iced the game with that magical pass. Came up with a few nice touches of the ball, and Big Les has give him 3 points. 2 to Hubner, a workaholic, just works himself to a standstill, and 1 to the evergreen and our leader of the Player of the Year, Jai Gray, and he also leads the Dally M's. I'm pretty sure he'll poll well in the Dally M's as well. So, 3-2-1 to Trell, Hubner, and Jai Gray.
I'm not going to be too different to that. I'm going to give it to Latrell. The Iceman came in, game's on the line. He done stuff. He done a pass that nobody in the game can do. This day and age, no one's coming up with that pass at that time of the game. First game back from injury, hasn't trained in 8 weeks. To come out with that, 3 points to Latrell Mitchell. Jai Gray, just everywhere on the field. I couldn't be more impressed with this bloke. Maybe because I'm a little bloke, but I just love the little blokes when they come into the game and have an impact. And I'm going to say the stand-in halfback, Jaden Sullivan, who come up with a play to get us back into the contest by the show and go, splitting them up. I'm going to give Jaden Sullivan the bud 1 point.
Yeah, well, look, I think I've quite similar to Big Les, just in a bit of a different order. I'm going to go to Jai Gray once again. I'll probably give him 3 points, 4 out of the 5 games, and that's why he's leading our Players of the Year award. He 3 points, outstanding, energised, effort on effort, came up with a crucial try. Just he gets to places that he shouldn't be, just with his speed. He's always talking out the back, and 3 points to Jai Gray. I'm going to give 2 points to Latrell. Like you said, chaps, he iced the game with that pass, and it's just his presence there. He came up with a couple of errors with his kicks, just going for 40-20s and stuff like that, but he put in some nice long kicks to get us out of trouble. So Latrell 2 points, and Lachlan Hubner, I thought he was outstanding. Just worked himself to a standstill, as he does every week. So 3 points to Jai Gray, 2 to Latrell, and 1 to Hubner.
Yep. No one's going to disagree with that, Brownie. So far, no one's got the correct answer there on the trivia question. John said Pete's running game from dummy half is getting better and better, and that's a little clue because Pete Lomazulis actually did the run prior to that pass, so he couldn't have been at dummy half. Cashy's thrown out Big Pete. No, it wasn't him. It wasn't Tallis Duncan PC. We'll give us a bit more time there. Jack White's defence was good, said John. Yeah, he was. He was coming up and in and making decisions that were, tough decisions to make in a tight game. But at the end of the day, they were the right ones. We'll continue on. We went down to train on the captain's run to do the press conference of Wayne Bennett. He was at his effervescent best again. And we met up with some absolute champions. They come all the way from South Australia. They got the South Australian Rabbitohs Facebook page, if you wanted to follow it and send them a few messages. Jason was the main man down there. We put a few photos up on our socials, and them boys come all the way up. They're going to go have a couple of drinks in the city and go to the game. I hope you've enjoyed it. You've come up for a cracking game there, Jason and the boys.
Yeah, well, outstanding. Yeah, the South Australian Bunnies, they've got a big flag made up which was at training. I think the Rabbitohs might have even put a photo up on their website. They get it out to the game. But, yeah, and look, to all the fans out there, you were outstanding, the Borough, and I know Shannon Donato, thank you guys, and hopefully the South Australian Bunnies got up to the after-match, the members' function. We couldn't do it this week. But
yeah, Shannon stepped in. I think they were struggling to get someone. I think they couldn't find Shannon. And then they grabbed Sean Garlick. He was going to come up and do it. And then they found Shannon. And in the end, Shannon interviewed Sean Garlick, I think. And they had Benny Lovett, the great man Benny Lovett, the Park Spaceman come up. But look, I'll endeavour to try and get out there for the next one, but it's not till May anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, shout out to you guys, the South Australian Bunny. If you're not following their Facebook page, jump on, give them a follow. They're doing good things over there, and we've got supporters everywhere, all around the state, all around the country, all around the world, as a matter of fact.
All around the world, all around Botany too. And we're in Botany now. We've got to get to Redfern in a few minutes. We're going to have to wrap this one up. Harold Matthews had a big win over the Dogs yesterday. They had to get in the semi-finals. They done it. The spine was outstanding. Young Hill, Zane Hill, I think it was Peyton Tarua, one of the best ball-playing 17-year-olds you'll ever see. He's only actually 16, I think. And Charlie Bate, I've been talking about him. Felden was good. May Lungy, the 15-year-old front rower. Big future there. Well done to Kel.
Yeah.
SG Ball didn't need to win. They were beaten 30-28, but the Dogs needed to win to get in it. Dogs snuck into the semis. They're all on next week.
Yeah, some great scenes there in the dressing rooms for the Harold match. Kel's done a tremendous job. I think they only won a couple of games last year, so yeah, he's got them off the canvas, so to speak, and he's got them into the semi-finals. Just snuck in. They had to win that game, and they did what they had to do, and they're in the semi-finals now. And like you said, chaps, the SG Ball quality team got beat yesterday, but the game was in the balance. They scored a late try, a really, really classy try as well. Some really good skill there. If you haven't seen it, jump on you're on our YouTube, go back and have a look at our shorts at that particular try. But yeah, both teams in the semi-final next week. Congratulations, and we wish them all the best.
Yep, for sure. So that might be about it, mate. We might wrap it up here. We're going to see us at the Jersey Flag. No one got the correct answer there. It was actually Sean Kepi, the tallest player in our team, bent down, got the dummy half pass through it to Latrell for the winning try. So there you go. Big Sean Kepi. He might be the number 9 in a few weeks if Pete goes down.
Well, no, that's not a bad idea, chaps. We'll throw a question out on every show, and we've got a couple of mugs left. We've got
a couple of mugs right here, actually.
A couple of mugs. Good heads for a radio.
But we better let you go. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the Mighty Rabbitohs, and we'll see you on Bar TV in about an hour. We've got to get there, Brownie.
Yeah, thanks,
Let's
guys.
wrap this up.